everybody. Hopefully you can hear me well. Welcome to Dominion's first of several Race Wall events. This is a tournament we are hosting by Dominion, but also including near vanilla and Nebula players. It's a great cross-server competition that is going to span 5 weeks, and we are kicking it off today. I will be your host. It's Wilvin. I am an admin over on Dominion, but we also have Scrog here with us, and her and I will be presenting at least this match and the future matches to come. Scrog, are we excited? I just realized I was muted. Scrog, are we excited to get this shit going?
We're so excited.
Hell yeah. So just to give you all an introduction, as I'm flying around here, you'll see 8 different lanes that we're going to be competing on. So Scrog, tell me a little bit about how this is going to work.
Sure, so we have all of our teams who are going to be starting at their base, and they're going to be working together through a series of challenges to try and find a piece of wool, which they then need to bring back to their base. And then from there, they need to then go across the course again to reach the end, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. So just like that, they're going to be searching through this lane that you can all see me flying around now, searching for a hidden piece of wool that will match their team color, and then they will have to return it, and then there'll be some other surprises. But ultimately, the first team to reach it all the way out of their lane and onto this platform at the end here will be crowned the victors. Now, just as a reminder, this is a seeding event and not a knockout event. So what that means is that everybody here is competing to get the best time they can. And the benefits of doing that is that they then are a better seed going into the tournament. So what that means is the team that gets first place today will be competing in the first rounds next week against the team that got 8th place. And then the team that gets second will be competing against the team that got 7th, third against 6th, and so on, all the way down. And so the incentive here is the faster our teams complete this, the better that they compete, the better chances that they have of progressing further and deeper into the tournament. So what kind of challenges are we expecting our teams to face today, Scrog? Can you think of any challenges we're going to be facing?
For sure. I mean, aside from the fact that this is everyone's first match working together and needing to get their flow, I mean, they were all given a chance to practice and provided with practice maps. I'm not sure how much advantage each team has taken of that, but I mean, there's going to be mob fighting, there's going to be teamwork and finding the best way to combat the challenges amongst all their people. There's going to be some platforming skills involved and puzzle solving, really, because they don't know. You know, this is a custom map we've designed ourselves. They have no idea what's going to be on here. Nobody does except for those involved in designing it. So it's going to be about figuring out the best way to approach the challenges ahead of them.
Exactly. And so just to give you an idea of the teams that we're going to have competing today, we have 8 different teams. And if you look at the tab menu here, we have the BB team. Those are the Blueberry Bears. Blueberry Bears today we have competing Cloud Fuel, Magda Stone, and Sierra Keegan. And then right below that, we have the Crimson Illusioners, where we have Ice, we have Stone Noob, and we have True Mikey Q, all competing on that team. You want to say the next couple of teams for me, Scrog?
Sure. So you finished off with the Crimson
Illusionists, and then next up we've got
the Golden Guardians, who today we have Derpy Panda, Hlock, and Wazowski representing. We have the Green Nitwits, who currently we've only got 2 members, so they're going to be a person down today. We've got Prince, Habby, and Splod, who'll need to be carrying a bit of extra work to keep up with the other teams.
For sure. And then after that, we have the Light Blue Creepers, we have Lychee Sim, Pyro, and we have Raven Platypi. Raven Platypi, as you may know, that team is from Nebula, Platypi being the owner admin over there. And then
I think that's Leche Sim.
Leche Sim, I'm so sorry.
I think it's milk in Spanish.
Oh, yeah. As a single language speaker, I apologize. And then we also have the Lime Limes, the most creative name of all the teams. I'm just kidding. 36, Just Prez, and Sarah Boodle competing today, those 3 out of 4 members. And then, Scrog, do you want to cover the last 2 teams?
Sure, so we have the Magenta Magma Cubes, who I believe is largely made up of Nebula members. We have Electro Yellow, Pixelated, 66, and Valilis, which I'm not sure if that's the correct pronunciation. I think that's some staff member as well from Nebula. And then our final team, we have Bob the Snob and Level 1 Smab representing from Dominion, both well-known staff members. I can't remember the acronym for that one.
They are the Salmon Sheep.
Salmon Sheep, of course.
Apologize, their name is Pink and not Salmon, but you can blame Mojang for that.
Yes, but all of our teams do have custom uniforms they're wearing today, so it should be easy to pick out who's on what team, and they've got little logos themselves too.
Yeah. So I don't want to waste any more time. We are going to go ahead and get started here. I will get the timer set. We are setting a time limit of 2 hours today. Now, we don't anticipate most teams taking that long, but you never know. And so there will be a firm cutoff at 2 hours. And then if any team has not finished by that time, they will unfortunately DNF and be placed at the bottom of the rankings for the seeding going forward. But with that in mind, let's go ahead and get things kicked off. I will start the timer on my side, and I will get my lovely assistant and fellow game master, Corb, to get this going for us.
Okay, we're going. So should we go to someone's start section and just see an overview of how they're going to be starting off the game today?
Absolutely. Let's go. See who I'm over by here. See what team. Oh, who do we have here? Looks like we have the Magenta Magma Cubes, and we have one member, Valilis, who is
we already have some PvP action.
Oh, incredible.
The Golden Guardians are going for them. Straight out with the bow and arrow, trying to pull the wool over their eyes.
Now you'll notice
we have our first blood.
We do have our first blood.
First blood.
You will notice
Sierra Keegan.
A lot of our teams already have bows and arrows. We do supply them with some beginning gear in these chests as they spawn in. There'll be some basic tools, some bows, some arrows, some swords, some cobwebs, and some food too. Now, these maps, Scrog, are absolutely littered with secret chests and things to hide. Things to find, sorry. So we may see some very fancy, interesting weapons and resources found as they compete today.
People definitely have their Minecraft knowledge tested. I mean, I personally would struggle with just remembering some of the crafting recipes, so I hope they've done their research on the best things they should be building.
Now, this is a great example on the screen now of what we would call a hidden spawner. Now, a lot of these are... This one is shown on the surface on one side. As we get deeper into the lane, there will be more and more spawners with harder and harder enemies to fight, and some of them will be completely hidden entirely. And so that means our competitors will have to use their Minecraft knowledge and the resources and tools that they've collected along the way to be able to dig up and find those.
Yes, and we have the Magenta Magma Cubes are going straight over the bridge, choosing to not explore the creepy crawly cave.
It looks like we do have many teams who are opting to not go into the creepy crawly cave just yet. They're pushing forward. Now, on the stream, I'm happy to tell you all that there is no wool in the creepy crawly cave. It would be kind of crazy if we included that right at the beginning, but there are incentives to come down here. There are chests, there are barrels full of rare gear that will help give them a head start. And so that's one of the elements of Race for Wool, is that teams will have to individually decide, is it best to push forward and try to rush forward towards later parts of the game, or is it better to spend time now searching out those resources, mining the coal and the iron to gear themselves up before they step away? Now, Scrog, if you were competing today, what method would you choose?
Honestly, the kind of player I am, I would just run into all the caves head first without thinking about it. I'd probably die a lot.
Yeah.
But, I mean, in a more serious, but I'll probably communicate with my team what's best to do. I mean, we don't have ears on the VCs, so we don't know exactly how much they're planning out what they're doing. But it might be best to divide your team up and have them search different areas just to get an idea of what challenges are facing them and what might be the best place to go to.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure how I would compete today. I'd like to think I would be the kind of player that would rush ahead and try to find better gear early, but I also am not the most well-versed in Minecraft PvP. Oh, as you can see here, speaking of rushing ahead, we have a light blue creeper member, Pocket Pyro, who is deciding to rush the surface, and they have actually dived quickly past the pillager outpost and pillager wall, and they are making a break for it up along, and it looks like they may rush right the way up the mountain at the very beginning of the game. Now, I wonder what their other teammates are doing. Let's see if we can find them. Oh, it looks like they are currently trying to set up kind of a home base. It looks like we have a furnace placed down. They're getting some basic resources smelted before they push ahead. It looks like the team's doing a split method scrub, where some of them are pushing ahead and some of them are kind of staying back.
It's not a bad idea to send out a messenger just so you can plan out the rest of the course. I mean, it's interesting contrasting because I'm just watching over the Golden Guardians who seem to be chopping down the trees and gearing themselves up properly before heading forward at all.
Interesting.
Oh, but they are heading towards a creepy crawly cave.
I do love the creepy crawly cave, and as you can see, the creepy crawly cave, there are lots and lots of spiders, both regular spiders and a few poison spiders in here that some teams may just choose not to mess with entirely.
Yeah, I mean, is it really worth having the spawners around for the drops from the mobs? I mean, I think I'd rather clear them out personally, just for a cleaner run later on when I'm trying to get the wall around.
It looks like the Crimson Illusionists have discovered the pre-made TNT cannon that we left for them on this lane, just to give a hint as to how they can attack their opposing team. However, they look like they may have fired it, and it perhaps did not trigger correctly, as I still see their opposing team's cannon is standing fine. I actually see 36 here now at the cannon. Now, having known 36 personally, he is a faction server veteran, which means, oh, and he's firing the cannon right now, which means he is very well versed in knowing how TNT cannons work. And as you can see, he executes it flawlessly, though doesn't quite get the range that he was looking for. But now that we have TNT in the hands of many of our teammates, we may start to see some TNT cannons between lanes begin to happen, and some teams may opt to use that TNT instead to either fight enemies or work their way through. Instead of mining by hand, they can use TNT to blow their way into certain areas.
Yeah, and it seems like the Golden Guardians are struggling quite a bit with the pillager area. They've just had a team wipe.
Oh. Stating this early in the game to have a team wipe.
And interestingly, Cloudfuel has decided to, instead of wearing a helmet, to wear your head from the Scarecrow.
Oh, excellent. Representing me.
Oh, he's fallen. Oh,
and
what a
he
save.
does clutch. However, the rules are, if you fall into the lane, sadly, you do have to fall all the way out. But luckily in today's match, my head did fall, but in today's match, we do have keep inventory on. Now, that might not always be the case as we move forward, but just for the seeding event, we do have that enabled. I just got word that it looks like Bob the Snob and their team are successfully towards the top of the tower. Bob?
Yeah, when I was watching Bob, he was heading up Ice Peak Point and being chased by quite a lot of things, but managing to evade the danger.
Yeah, it looks like Bob there was attempting to sequence break over the barrier, but we have prevented that from happening.
Yeah, but he's right at the other end of the map. And Smab seems to be with him as well.
Excellent.
It's, you like when an underdog team seems to be taking some good steps. I mean, if there were to be a two-player team, they are two very capable players who I can see making this work in their favor.
Exactly. And it looks like, having noticed here, Previously, the Green Nitwits only had 2 players, but it looks like their 3rd player, King Jawa, was able to join in the nick of time and is now competing with their team. So, unfortunately, it does appear that the Salmon Sheep are the only team of 2, but like you said, Scrog, if there was ever to be a team of 2, then those 2 definitely have the capability to pull this off. They're just going to have to really work hard.
Yeah, I mean, Bob was our winner of our advancement challenge, wasn't he? The event we did, we had to collect as many advancements as possible in an hour. So he has good game knowledge. And also guided you through a speedrun for our Pride event last year.
That is very true, yes. Bob did coach me through a speedrun. And even though it was littered with various challenges, like him only being allowed to talk to me in German for 5 minutes, he was a very effective coach, and we were able to succeed in that speedrun, so...
Yes, I received a message from Jawa just as the game was starting. He seemed to have overslept, so he's going to be approaching today just from waking up. So I'm hoping for him that he can wake up quickly.
Ooh, looks like we did just have a bunch of players taken out by some pillagers. We had Derpy Panda, Raven Platypi, and True Mikey Q, all from 3 different teams. Oh, and now Electro Yellow. 4 different teams, 5 different teams, all falling to the pillagers, all at the same time. And so it's proving that those pillagers are a definite threat that needs to be taken care of before the teams can proceed. It does look like a lot of spawners have been taken out already.
Looking at the Salmon Sheep, they've taken out a lot of the spawners from their wall, whereas a lot of the teams just trying to go over it and ignore it.
It's very dark right now. We do have a daylight cycle happening. Let's see if that moon is moving. It looks like we will have the sunrise within the next few minutes, which may give a little saving grace to some of these teams, as they are not only right now battling the spawners that are spawning mobs, but also the natural spawns. So we have creepers, zombies, skeletons, anything that spawns naturally is now spawning on the surface. Oh! And it looks like Pixelated 66 did just get hit by something. Someone has a spectral arrow, I believe they're called, the kind that highlight people. Oh, and they are about to get peppered by 4 different pillagers with crossbows too. And they decided to retreat a little bit. It looks like their teammates are coming up in the rear to help out a little bit. Oh, yeah, one of them does go down.
We have Raven Platypi as well, who was doing a good job of just tanking his way through what must have been 10 pillagers, but just as he was getting away was shot in the back.
Ooh.
But they seem to have taken the spawners out and cleared the area, and they're moving forward as a unit. And they found the secret spawners below the post in the tower.
Aha. Now, Scrog, one thing I'm noticing as I fly around, and we haven't really talked about it yet, what are all these weird target blocks that are just kind of sticking in the side of the walls?
I don't actually know.
That's okay, I can explain. So, those target blocks are places where opposing teammates from their lane can shoot, and various things will happen. Sometimes an explosion will happen. And so, for example, if someone is battling some pillagers on one side, they can have an opposing enemy shoot the target block at the opportune moment and cause them a lot of hurt and a lot of headache.
Oh, Jawa's going for the Wilven Head as well.
Excellent. We love people representing the Wilven Head. Actually, I just noticed this might be the first team. We have Pocket Pyro on the LBC team, who is descending for the first time into the lava chasm. And as they go down, they are encountering the various dripstone hazards around, and they are mining their spawners as they go. Let's see if they can take out... Oh, they didn't even notice a spawner behind them, and they are ignoring it. It is a wither.
That's a bad move.
Spawner.
I mean, this room is sort of a forbidden hot tub, and if you're not careful, you can be taken out quite easily.
The forbidden hot tub, I love it.
And there's also lots of dripstone around this area, so if you get hit and fall onto one, you could be taking quite a lot of damage too. Lava is not very forgiving.
Lava is not forgiving. Now, luckily, we do have keep inventory on, and so we're not going to lose those items. But if you have made it all the way here and you die, you will be sent all the way back to the beginning of your lane and have to progress again, potentially having to fight past enemies on the surface again.
It sounds like we've just had a thunderstorming game as well.
We did not plan for that. I promise we did not trigger a thunderstorm, but that's a very good point. The elements are out of our control, and so if there are storms or the day and night cycle happens, we are not in control of that. So things will just happen naturally.
Can the 4 horsemen spawn, in theory?
I believe in theory they could. You're right.
And we could see a trader, I guess, as well, maybe.
Yeah, potentially. We have some more of the light blue creepers making it down into the lava chasm, but fighting against the wither skeletons, which arguably is the biggest threat down here. Those suckers will wither you away even if they hit you once. For example, perfect timing. Leche Sim did just get hit once by a wither skeleton, buried themselves in the wall, but that lingering withering effect took away their remaining hearts, and sadly they did die and will have to reset.
It's interesting because on survival you get used to the luxuries of just having maxed out gear. I find myself, whenever I'm playing on a server without all my usual stuff, even just jumps, I greatly underestimate how far I can jump without dying. So it'll be interesting to see how they tailor their gear for what challenges are ahead of them.
Does look like we have a firefight here between the Green Nitwits King Jawa and the Blueberry Bear Sierra Keegan, who are both opting to try to pick each other off. It actually looks like Sierra Keegan is aiming up for one of those traps we mentioned earlier. Hopefully we can see them hit it. We do. It might not be a strong enough signal, though. And we do see that explosion.
Oh! Interestingly, there's a trap much closer. We seem to have hit that one already.
Yeah, so some of them drop things from the ceiling, as you can see here.
Oh! Zhao has been sniped out.
It looks like Sierra Keegan did win that exchange.
She seems to be on full gamer performance today. I think she's got a fair few kills already. Oh, and interestingly, there seems to be a pillager which has spawned on the side of the map on a dirt block, which Cloud placed when trying to save himself from falling.
Looks like we do have some members of the Golden Guardians who are taking the slower, more careful route. It looks like they have found their way to the Iron Cave. We have Wazowski here, who is collecting as much of that as they can, hopefully to bring back and share with their teammates. It looks like these skeletons and creepers are just spawning into the void. So luckily for them, they don't have to deal with that right now.
We have Bobbin, the Guardian Abyss right now as well, which is the first player I've seen down here, and is making use of doors to keep able to breathe underwater.
Ooh, that is just the kind of play that I would expect from someone as experienced as Bob. Using the doors for oxygen is a great move there.
Yeah, and he's hiding in little caves where he can bring the mobs to him so he can pick them off whilst exposing himself to minimal danger. And taking out the spawners straight away, which we had other players completely missing before.
Let's see if he gets the hidden ones. Oh, he misses them, unfortunately. May cause him problems in the future as he backtracks here.
Are our players locked to first-person camera, or are they able to make use of changing to third person?
They can definitely make use of that. So if they find an opportunity where that's beneficial, then they definitely can. If you are thinking of looking over the edge, they could. They could also crouch over the edge.
Absolutely. You could look over the side and find some of these spawners if you're making use of your other cameras.
Exactly. And keen-eyed players will notice that these lanes are identical and mirrored. And so if they need to, they can take a peek over at the other side to either find spawners, resources, or maybe even find the route that they're supposed to travel in.
Oh, we've got 36 pulling off a kill just now as well.
While clinging to this death pit too, which is kind of impressive.
And seems to have found where the spawners are as well.
see if they are able to successfully...
But we have Boodle seemingly unaware of being chased by some pillagers. Oh, and we've got Prez, who's building a path for Boodle so she can get down safely.
And it does look like this is the first time we've seen a full team push ahead down into where they need to go next. Does look like they're being chased by a rogue pillager, though. Hopefully that doesn't cause them any issues. It looks like Sarah Boodle took care of that quickly. So they are descending now into the lava chasm below.
It seems that Boodle seems to be holding at the back of the team as well, letting the danger be cleared, whilst we have the other two pushing forward.
Exactly.
Oh no! And then we had Prez almost fall into the lava, but managed to just about escape.
Now, as they are proceeding, you might notice that we have a lot of bedrock in the walls here. And that is to prevent some sequence breaking. So sequence breaking is being able to do a part of the map first when they really shouldn't be able to. For example, we have blocks in place here so that players cannot just look at where the wool is and mine directly to it and grab it. Instead, they have to run the gauntlet. And so that means descending down through this cave here into the dripstone cavern, down into the lava cave, make it successfully over all of these lava enemies that will spawn. There's magma cubes, skeletons, baby zombies, the works down here, and then climb up into this wool chamber. But you may notice there is a very solid piece of obsidian, and so the players are absolutely incentivized to spend some time in this lava area collecting these diamond ores here to make diamond pickaxes. Otherwise, they will have a very, very slow chance at getting through.
Oh, and Bob's just fallen off the edge.
Unfortunate for them.
I've not checked in much on the Crimson team. Maybe I'll go over there and see how they're doing.
Yeah, let's see how the Crimson team are doing. I'm temporarily keeping an eye on our Limes here. They seem to be the first team to really take a shot at progressing through the lava cave.
So the Crimson team seems to be at the Drippy Cave, heading towards the lava chasm. And seemingly it just opposite from where Just Prez is, so I wonder if they'll make a move to kill off the opponents. Or if they'll just
look like
leave
one of
each
them
other
has a crossbow in their hand. Will they choose to fight or just ignore each other for now?
Oh, and interestingly, we have Prez semi-AFK who's building up some furnaces and trying to smelt some iron, presumably to upgrade their gear.
Oh, and we do see the Crimson Illusionist taking that opportunity to shoot across over at the Limes here, who were trying to make that progress. Now, Just Prez is delicately standing on the cobblestone there. If they had got hit back, they would have fallen. Oh, and they do get taken out and sniped. Sarah Boodle is fighting back, but the other team do have the high ground, and that is a very beneficial... Oh, and Sarah Boodle does get taken out, unfortunately. Now we have 36, who is delicately fighting a whole... Oh, and they get taken out too! The Crimson Illusionists completely wipe out the Limes, making them reset from the beginning. Does this now give the Crimson Illusionists enough time to push through the lava before the Limes can reset and get back at it?
Luckily, they seem to get their iron into the furnaces before they died, so at least that will continue smelting whilst they make their journey back. And this is where it's important, I guess, to make your map safe to return to where you were before instead of rushing.
Exactly. And especially with the day and night cycle, too. A lot of teams seem to have underestimated the value of torch spam on the surface. And so when we get into this second night that's coming sooner than you'd think, all that's going to start happening is those teams who have not lit up their spawn areas will start seeing enemies spawning there, and they're going to have to fight through them to get back to where they were. We do have the Crimson Illusionists who are pushing across, trying to bridge their way across the lava chasm here.
Interestingly, Bob and Smab seem to have split up quite a bit and seems to be tackling on different sections. We currently have Smab in the underwater section, whilst... Where is Bob? Oh no, Bob's just been killed by Lecce. So we seem to have their team sticking together as a pack whilst Bob was exploring off on his own and just was taken out without much defense.
I did just notice that we do have a rematch between King Jawa and Sierra Keegan. They are both... Oh, and it does look like Sierra has backup now, as another member of their team, Cloud Fuel, is fighting back. So now we have Cloud Fuel and Sierra Keegan both firing at King Jawa, but King Jawa does have the high ground, and it is much harder to shoot upwards with a bow and arrow in this game than to shoot downwards at an enemy. You get a lot more velocity and a lot more distance.
Yes, and interestingly, Cloud's made the choice to retreat to the other side into where there's safety instead of continuing to engage in the fight.
I believe Cloud may be taking a shortcut strategy where they're creating a method to get back to this spot quickly. So let's see if that pans out for them. They are going to hit the bedrock right now, but maybe they will be able to find a way to navigate up and around that. And it does look like they are in fact doing that. And back here at the Green Nitwits, we have Prince Habibis, who is just fishing, seemingly. Having a good time. Looks like they planted some crops, and they're just collecting some fish. Either they're chilling, or they're trying to supply their teammates with some better food to survive. Now here's the team we haven't looked at too much, the Golden Guardians, and it looks like we do have... Locke has made it to the boss room. This void boss room here, in case you weren't aware, when the players place their wool all the way back at their monuments for the first time, this is the chamber that they need to come to defeat a boss. And that will allow them to proceed to the exit, which will allow them to finally reach this final platform here, and that is where the timer will count them as having finished their lane.
Yes, and actually Skulk is quite a good source for XP as well, which could be helpful for
that is a great point.
Repairing some tools if you need to.
Now it does appear...
we have our first diamonds of the game, I believe.
Oh, we do? Who is that?
It's Ice MC.
Incredible. Yeah, it does look
just
like...
Just chilling below the lava.
Yeah. Which is a risky spot, if I had to say. Oh, and it does look like they were stepping out. I will quickly delete this block, as it is illegal. I did get word that Just Prez has also entered the boss chamber. Now, there's not necessarily a incentive to make it here this early.
Stone Noob was not happy with Prez being in that chamber. Seems to have Oh no, Prez got the kill.
Yeah. Now, as a reminder, our teams today did not know this map ahead of time. And so this information that we're sharing with you about this boss chamber and all the secrets that you can see around, our players have no idea where this is. This is the first time them laying eyes on anything here. And so they have to spend time collecting information just as much as they have to collect resources.
Well, Stone Noob seems to be on a bit of a killing streak, taking out Boodle as well. Seems to be quite a lot of rivalry between those two teams. I think they've hit a point where they've got enough kills with each other that they just want to fight it out each time.
One technique I've taken note of here, Scrog, is that some members have used shears to collect the cobwebs from the spider cave in the beginning, and are now using that to quickly descend into parts of the caves. So instead of building ladders or making staircases out of blocks, some players are opting for the risky strat of just immediately dropping down. Now that does make it difficult for them if they need to return after dying. They don't have a convenient route back up or back down, but it is much faster.
It is definitely a feat of sheer strength to take that gamble and hope it pays off. But when you're competing with time, sometimes you need to make risky plays.
Exactly, exactly. Oof, and it does look like our friends, the Crimson Illusionists, are getting absolutely surrounded by skeletons and zombies right now as they drop onto them from above. Hopefully they have enough gear at this point to be able to survive. It looks like they're playing very cautiously, using a hidey hole and kind of poking their way out here and there to get back at those enemies. Ideally, they could get somebody to go up there and destroy that spawner. Oh, and it looks like they did. Right as I said that, we had one player from their team poke their head out of another hidey hole and quickly take care of that spawner. So once they take care of these mobs that are remaining, they should be pretty safe.
Oh, and we've just had Locke die to our mini boss. In an ironic move, Locke, the pork farmer, seems to be having quite a bit of trouble with the Zoglin. Interestingly, we seem to have a fair bit of support for Corb in the chat, who is not competing in a team today. Oh, and we've just got a panda getting a kill. That is Darky Panda, not Bay Panda.
Oh, very, very interesting here. We actually have a team who, whether intentionally or not, had water flow down through the caves and land perfectly on the lava chasm here, creating obsidian. And so that might be an interesting technique if our other players figure that out as a quick way to cross this chasm without having to build a single block lane that they can risk falling off or getting shot off of.
Is there much benefit of keeping lava around?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't think there is much of an incentive.
No, I mean, they're good fuel for a furnace, but
Exactly.
beyond that, it might be best just to clear it out.
It looks like our Limes have actually been the first team to reach the wool chamber.
Oh, we have a team fight currently between the Golden Guardians and the Magenta Magma Cubes as well. They're trying to hit some of the targets.
And there we have it. 36 is the first player out of this match to collect a piece of wool. And also, as you can see, once they've done so, they begin to glow. And so what that means is that the opposing team on their other lane can now see exactly where those wool carriers are, and they can opt to track them and attack them if they can. We are going to track this return to see if we can have our first team to place the wool. Let's see how this goes.
Only time will tell. Oh, Bob seems to be struggling with the 3 versus 2.
Does look like Sarah Boodle also picked up some wool.
We have Sarah Boodle breaking the rules currently. She seems to have a shield.
Oh, interesting. And so, yes, we did let our players know ahead of time that crafting of shields is not allowed. However, there is one in the map that can be found. And it looks like Sarah Boodle was lucky enough to stumble upon that. So now Sarah Boodle has an opportunity to deflect the arrows that come at them from skeletons, as well as enemies on the opposing lane. So yes, while
I didn't know we'd left one on the map.
Yeah, and I could not even tell you where it was. But yeah, players cannot craft shields, but they can find them.
And Prez, in an interesting move, seems to be crafting a lot of TNT to blow up the area above the lava chasm.
I wonder if their plan is to blow up the TNT, or if they truly only had TNT left in their inventory to tower up with. It is risky because there are flame bows in this game, and so if someone hits that TNT with a flame arrow, then that could be extremely problematic for the limes climbing out of here. Oh, it does look like The golden guardians have also collected their piece of wool. If they can also make it back.
Did we? No, I don't think we did. There seems to be a fox which has spawned inside one of the glowing bounty caves.
Perfect. Oh, I do see him taking a little nap here inside the berry bush. What a little cutie. Now, I don't think that any team has opted to enter the Lush Cave at this time, but if they were to do so, they will find a very nice diamond sword with sharpness on it. Now, obviously, melee combat is not going to be useful against the enemy team, but later, as we fight the boss and his minions, that may be something that is extremely helpful.
We do have some people asking about your resource pack you're using today as well.
Yeah, this is the Bare Bones Resource Pack. It is a resource pack that is designed to make Minecraft kind of look like those really nice trailers that Mojang releases. And so a lot of the textures are very simple in design and less textured, I would say. It's a great opportunity for me to have a simple texture pack on and be able to easily see all the players that are competing today. And for those watching at home, you can easily see people against these textures. And also, it's really pretty. But it is called Bare Bones, and there are a lot of add-ons for it. The magenta magma cubes have spawned the Void Disciple. That is the boss, so it does look like the... Oh, and the limes also spawned. Oh, yeah, there are the... I don't know if that is intentional. And here is that Void Disciple that we were talking about. He is I believe they are called Evokers. And what that means is that he has a lot of special spells that he can cast that cause a lot of trouble. He can also summon Vexes. Vexes can travel through blocks in this game, which means that players who may be using the hidey hole method perhaps cannot do that. And it looks like somehow the limes are able to summon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different bosses, which is absolutely not intentional. Let me just verify with our game masters to see if it was their mistake or ours. If it is their mistake, we will not be fixing this, and the teams will have to deal with this problem that they have created for themselves. And if it was our mistake, then we will fix that and rectify it.
Is there a benefit to spawning the mini boss multiple times?
Absolutely not. There is only a negative. So if they chose to do that, whether intentionally or accidentally, then they are going to have to deal with the repercussions. We do have the Golden Guardians who are collecting the yellow wool block now, who may be able to make that back and then spawn their Void Disciple in order to proceed. Now, you may think, oh, some teams have already spawned the Void Disciple, we have no chance of catching up, or the other teams have no chance. That's not necessarily true, because there's still a lot to go. They have to defeat this Void Disciple, re-enter this final gauntlet, enter their final corridor here with lots of enemies that will be spawning, before they can then exit and get their time secured. So there's still a lot to go.
The magenta magma cube seems to be having a bit of trouble with most of their team dying at the same time.
This does look like that's been a problem for them. Let's zip on back to our lovely friends, the Golden Guardians, who look like they are returning with their wool. Let's see if they can make it back without the opposing team causing them trouble.
We have Locke anxiously waiting for that wool to arrive. Um,
Oh, not quite. Let's see if they can figure it out. They do need to place that block on the very top of their monument.
and it seems like Valilis is in quite a bit of danger with some Evokers and Vexes, and lost the fight.
And the Golden Guardians have successfully spawned their Void Disciple, and so they can now proceed to attempting to fight that to continue their attempt here. And I do see those Vexes that are around that did just take out Valilis. And had to send them back, but maybe they haven't. Ooh, that's a long fall down that they managed to survive.
Bob seems to be tactically trying to take out the Zoglin spawner from the outside. Just standing on the glass, hoping to be able to take them out.
Oh, and interestingly, we do have the Blueberry Bears who have joined the wool race. They have collected the wool themselves, and they are now attempting to return that too. They are taking the route of back through the lava cave, I believe.
And it's interesting because the further down you get the path, the more likely you are to get interference from other teams aside from your usual lane partner.
Exactly, exactly. Oh, and it looks like the Lime Limes were going to take an attempt at taking out their multiple bosses that they spawned. They used TNT to attempt with that. It did succeed in killing some of them, and we do see the totem on the ground, which is the item that they need to collect. But they all also killed themselves with either the Vexes or with excess TNT damage. So let's see if they're able to make it back and notice the item on the ground or not. They may not. We'll see.
Oh, and Bob seems to have TNT'd his way to the end, to the end of the map and made his way to the center platform.
So, as you may notice, and Bob didn't realize, no.
Oh, we have the Crimson Illusions with the Void Disciple now as well. It seems to be a fairly even race so far.
It looks like, having been a person down, the Sam and Sheep are trying to see some tricky, sneaky methods of giving themselves an edge. It looks like Bob was able to find their way up into the final room before having defeated the Void Disciple, which is fine, except they cannot proceed. There are barrier blocks in place that stop them from moving forward if they have not collected that totem from the Void Disciple.
And Bob has also blown up the chest which you put the totem in.
He most certainly has, and our helpers and game masters are looking into that for us now. We'll see what we can do to assist them, but there were clear signs that stated what they needed to do, and so if in their own attempts to sequence break and get through that early, if they have messed things up, it may be their responsibility to deal with it. Now we do have somebody from the Golden Guardians pushing forward. I believe Flock does actually have the totem in their inventory, and they are pushing forward right now. They are reaching for the chest, the barrel. They are placing it inside, and the Golden Guardians do take first place as their team exits out the lane. Incredible work.
What a great victory. What's our time, Sam?
Looks like they finished it with an hour and 18 minutes left on the clock.
Wow. I mean, it all seems to be in the end area where they are now free to relax. I assume at this point they then can't go back and fight the other teams.
Correct, yes. Once they have successfully exited, they are not allowed to re-enter and then interfere. It looks like Boodle is making their way back, trying to fight through these Void Disciples. Now, again, that totem is still on the ground here, ready to be... Oh, and we do see, unfortunately, Boodle taken out by the Vex. Now, it's wrong. If I was in a team competing right now, I'd want to make sure that all of my teammates were ready to fight that Void Disciple at the same time, but it looks like the Lime Lions were trying to get lucky and just have one of their players rush in to grab that totem. It sadly did not work out.
Yes, I mean, you still need to get the kill off, so it's... Unless you're going to make some kind of trap, I'm not sure how you can try and just steal it away from them.
Now, it does look like the Crimson Illusionist...
One of the Vexes seems to have picked up a sword.
I did not know they could even do that.
No, oh no, it's just for texture pack. They just have small swords on them.
Oh, yeah. The Blueberry Bears have spawned their Void Disciple too, and will be proceeding to fight it. I also noticed that the Crimson Illusionists have collected their wool too, and it looks like they've actually made a lot of rat tunnels that they are able to secretly move around inside of their lane without actually being exposed to the enemy team. And so that might be a great opportunity for them to be able to hide away while they return this wool. Now, one thing I will notice is that while they both have a piece of wool, they are actually going the wrong way. There is no way to make it all the way back to their spawn point and their spawn monument by going down into the cave here. And I don't know if they have realized that yet. Oh, having said that, I'm completely out of my mind because it looks like the Crimson Illusionists actually already have the Void Disciple spawned, and so it may be that they're just holding on to additional wool for the sake of it. Sorry for being inside of someone's head right there.
Oh, what
on earth is going on here? We have...
What the fuck is happening here?
We have a very interesting strategy in which a player has poured lava over their own lane. Not
They
sure
seem
if...
to have collected the player heads from the side of the map and made some kind of strange tribute.
And now, I'm not sure if this is somebody who has emotionally given up, or whether it's somebody who is attempting to sabotage their own team. It is unclear. But it does look absolutely devastating to their lane here.
Yes, I think they chose a fitting team name.
If you are watching this stream at home and you're hearing this music in the background, you may recognize some of the songs that are playing. A lot of these are remixes of classic video game songs. So as you're listening, see if you can recognize what the game might be from. This one is a AK Slider song from Animal Crossing New Leaf that has been remixed.
Bob and Smap seem to be fighting as best they can, still trying to take on PvPs with the opposing team and coming out with some wins.
Interestingly, I did believe that we would have a much quicker second place than we have had, but it looks like it is taking a lot longer for other teams to catch up.
Yes, and it seems for the Blueberry Bears, the Evoker seems to have made his way out of the initial room and seems to be hanging up by the giant tower towards the end.
Oh, interesting. That's a great point, Scrub, because the longer they take, these enemies have an AI of their own. They are not fixed in place, and so if they take too long and they blow up or mine part of the arena, that does mean the Void Disciple can exit if they want to.
I wonder if you could just tunnel below them and have them fall to their death.
That does look like our salmon sheep are proceeding to a point where they are going to be able to collect the wool. Looks like we have Bob the Snob, who is delicately under the ground here, who I believe only has an iron pick, but has chosen to just force their way through the obsidian here. I'm not sure quite how long it takes to mine obsidian with an iron pick, but it is considerably long with a diamond pick. However, when they get up, they are going to have to contend with these blazes. Now, they're not the worst enemy to run past because they do have a recharge time on their attack. But if you do get lit on fire by them, then you are going to be burning for a considerable amount of time. It also looks like the enemy team, the light blue creepers, are also pushing their way through the obsidian at the same time. They are now actually being targeted by the blazes on the other side of the lane. And so it looks like the light blue creepers may be keeping the aggro of those enemies so that Bob can push their way through and get to the wall. However, I do not believe that Bob is aware of that at this time.
Yes, but Bob has just broken through and is placing water in a move to negate the fire from the blazes. It's more of Bob's game mechanic knowledge of how to best protect himself in these situations. Whilst the other team is just being absolutely blasted by the blazes.
Looks like one member of the Crimson Illusionists, Mikey, is making their way up towards the Void Disciple. And once again, this team has opted to 1-2. So they are doing the TNT method, it appears. It's risky because, yes, it will do a lot of damage. It will also hurt you. And it may, in this case, just like that, launch the Disciple off the map. Incredible.
But luckily, they've got a second one waiting.
Yeah, you absolutely do. A second one who has taken 50 points of damage, but what our players may not know is that these enemies are not just regular health. We have boosted the boss's health, and so a couple of TNT will do some damage, but it is not going to kill these enemies like normal.
Yes, I mean, this is actually a Void Disciple, which is a callback to one of our L&D events.
It absolutely is. One of our L&D events did introduce a entity known as the Void Paragon, I believe. Now, these Void Disciples are exactly that. They are disciples, so they are nowhere near as powerful as the Void Paragon, but still a considerable threat, especially with the lower level of gear that our players have today. Now, Sprog, I do believe that the Limes, I can't confirm it, I did not see it happen, but I do believe the Limes have one of the totems in their inventories at this time, and so they are now pushing forward. Again, Just Prez using TNT to stack up because they did not have other blocks. Now they are entering the final gauntlet here, so they may be the team that is closest to placing second so far out of everyone I've seen.
It very well could be. Let's do a quick check. So, we seem to have the magenta magma cubes in the deep dark room currently. Which I'm not sure why they're there at this point, I guess. I'm not sure if they've gotten their totem yet. And we seem to still have Bob and Smab splitting up just to make whatever progress they can.
Oh, it looks
but
like
looking
we had
into the final corridor, it seems like they have restored the barrel for the totem to go into.
Interesting. And we do see some blueberry bears in the boss chamber. Oh, and we quickly have the Limes having finished their lane. Incredible work. I'm so sorry I missed that on camera. I did not think they were that close. Great work, Limes. You do take second place. Means you are now seed 2, and you will be going against the team that places 7th.
They seem to be called the Lime Llamas in game. I think they're being taken for a rebrand.
Oh, interesting.
No, but we also do have the magenta magma cubes following closely behind as well, just making their way up the final tower.
Oh, we did have one player get reset from a Zoglin there. Let's see how the other members of the magenta team are doing. We do have one member of that team, Pixelated 66, who is fighting their way through this final gauntlet As you can notice, this is the only place where we have witches to spawn, and if you didn't know, witches are a reasonable threat in this game, especially if they take you by surprise. They throw potions at you, and those potions can be poisoning, they can be instant damage, they can also, I believe, heal the enemies around them that are on their side. Oh, and we saw some enemy-on-enemy action here. I did not know that, but it turns out that husks, which is a type of zombie, attack zoglins. So we had some zoglin on husk action. We did see pixelated dye, though, however, so it looks like the magenta magma cubes are back to the beginning, but they do have a totem, I believe, and they can push forward. Go check on the light blue creepers here. It does look like they are pushing their way up. In fact, they look like they have a player in the boss arena. It's unclear whether they have defeated the boss or not, but they may have already done that and are proceeding upwards into the final gauntlet.
At this point, I feel like the green nitwits have conceded. They seem to just be not really attempting the map anymore and just playing Minecraft.
Yeah, and I wonder if that was a group decision, Scrog, or whether that was one player's decision. We will have to maybe interview them at the end here to see quite what was going on in their minds during this game. It looks like two of their players are completely AFK.
The last one seems to be wearing my head and just waiting for the volcano to take their lives. Luckily, Jawa seems to have retained some fans throughout this interesting gameplay strategy.
We do have the light blue creepers who are up in that final chamber. But it looks like they're not proceeding, which makes me believe that they, at least Leche, does not have the totem required to continue. So we will have to see if another teammate of theirs does and is making their way up. It does look like we have two of them here at the boss platform. So hopefully one of them does actually have that. And we do have Leche here who has the high ground, who is PvPing against somebody. Let's see if we can see who they were shooting at. It's kind of hard to tell. Oh, looks like they just fell. So never mind, they are not PvPing anybody because they just fell to their death.
Oh, and I think we have... Oh, maybe they're not as high up as I thought. I saw the magenta magma cubes heading towards the exit, but I think they're not quite ready. We have Valilis waiting at the top, seemingly for the delivery of the totem, whilst the other two are collecting it.
Does seem to be the case.
Oh, and Bob has collected the pink wall block. And he seems to have a GG built onto the finishing platform made out of dirt and TNT.
Do love a good GG. Oh, we do have another player fall.
Pocket Pyro patiently waiting in the last room whilst Raving Platypus tries to make his way up the tower.
We do have the team of two, the Salmon Sheep, having collected the wool. See if they're able to make that back to summon the Void Disciple.
Oh, and was sniped out by Leche Sim before he could even place.
We are getting close to the halfway point of all the allotted time. We are 2 minutes and 30 seconds away from it being 1 hour remaining. Now, just as a reminder for those watching at home, not every week is going to be like this. This is a very special... Oh, sorry, some combat here. This is a very special week in that all 8 teams are competing at the same time. but for every week after this week, it will be one team versus one team on 2 lanes, just like how you're seeing now. And so it'll be much easier for us to show at literally everything that's happening between both teams. But as of for right now, we kind of have to dance around and rush to all 8 teams.
Oh, I think the Blueberry Bears might just be approaching the last finish.
Oh, do you believe that they have the totem required? See if they have it.
I think they do. They have it, they're done. Oh no, they seem to be wondering what they've missed, so perhaps not.
Does look like they're panicking a little bit, trying to figure out what it is that they need to do. They did attempt to place TNT in the middle, but sadly that is not the test of strength we are looking for. We are in fact specifically looking for the the Void Disciples Totem of Undying that they drop. Now I'm not sure if the Blueberry Bears have ever even spawned it. I believe that they are one of the few teams remaining who have not successfully returned a wool. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yes, but I think we've got the light blue creepers just approaching the final room as well. I do believe they've taken out the boss. Oh no, they're holding the wool. So they've also ended up at the end with the wrong test of strength. And is now asking for help in chat. Oh, and the Blueberry Bears are through the finish line in our 3rd place.
Oh, I'm so sorry I missed that, everybody. I thought that they did not even have it ready, but it looks like they all successfully made their way through, and they are seemingly mocking the light blue creepers. It is a travesty. And the light blue creepers seemingly do not have a totem of their own. Did they ever spawn their Void Disciple? It is unclear. They do have all 3 teammates up here and no one is placing it, and so perhaps they do not have what they need.
Should we update Raving Platypi? They feel like they've been soft locked out from the end.
Let's see.
I'm not sure how much information we're supposed to give them at this point, but they are definitely not ready to pass through the finish line. And Cloud seems to be... sorry, not Cloud. True Mikey seems to be on top of the last room. Which, unfortunately, you can't get into the final room from on top.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because what you cannot see here on the stream is there are actual barrier blocks right between these command blocks and the dirt that True Mikey has placed that prevent you from any other method of getting to this platform other than going through this final gauntlet room and placing your Totem of Undying, which is your test of strength, in the center of this barrel. And then when you do, these walls come down and the team will place. It looks like, the Crimson Illusionists are attempting to proceed and push forward, but are actually getting hit.
Oh, and Bob has gone to put the wall also into the final room. Unfortunately for... So we seem to have 3 teams in a similar place of not realizing there's a boss fight hidden somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what you guys at home don't know is before the event started, we did give every team a hint as to what they have to do, and part of that hint was that they were told they have to return to their monument with their piece of wool. And it appears that some teams have chosen to not remember that.
And Bob seems to be repeatedly trying to put the wool into the test your strength box.
Just sent out a little reminder there that the wool does need to go on that monument at the start of their lane.
Oh, and also the Library Creepers have just spawned the Void Disciples, so they seem to have worked out what's really going on here.
Exactly. And so any team who's paying close attention to the chat will have seen that message about the Void Disciple being spawned over and over. Oh, and it does look like Raving Platypi was perhaps able to take care of that, but then died immediately. So maybe they were able to get that test of strength. It is unclear whether they were able to kill it or if it got knocked off the edge. We'll have to see.
And we seem to have some water going off the side of the map here.
We did have a question from one of our teams that says, does knocking the Void Disciple off not count as a kill? It absolutely does not count as a kill. That Void Disciple does need to be killed because the drop that it drops needs to be picked up and returned to the very top chamber here. And if it falls into the void, then so does that item.
Oh, and that Void Disciple seems to not be respawning.
Let's take a
So
look.
perhaps the Limes used up all of the Void Disciples and didn't leave enough spare for everyone else. Oh, and they seem to have converted the lava into all cobblestone. Perhaps this was a strategy from the green nitwits, but I'm not entirely sure where their head's at this point.
I'm not convinced it was a strategy at all. I believe that they have completely given up and are just deciding to proceed with just being a little bit crazy over here. But that's okay. If they choose not to continue competing, they will just place last, and that's fine. They will still get to compete next week.
Have we explained how we're going to be placing the teams against each other based on the results from today?
We did at the beginning, but for anyone who's tuning in later, would you like to explain that?
Sure, so whoever comes in first today, which was the Golden Guardians, will be pit against the team who come last today. And whoever's second will go against who is seventh, and etc. And so today's test really does put you in a more favorable position in theory against the teams who've done less well today. But at the same time, we could have a team who's not done well this week turn around and do a lot better next week.
Exactly. And really, the main goal here was to allow all of our teams to really get their feet wet in Race for Wool. A lot of our competitors in these teams, I would say more than 80% of them, have never even heard of Race for Wool before. It is a much older game mode that used to be much more popular in Minecraft circa 2020, maybe even earlier than that. It was a very early competitive format. Oh, and it does look like we have Crimson Illusioner. Stone Noob did fall while trying to fight back the Vexes from the Void Disciple. But yeah, so a lot of our players have not played Race for Wool before, and so that is why we decided to move forward with this seeding event. One, as a way to place people in the brackets, but two, to let them have an opportunity to play as a team without immediately getting eliminated and not being able to play again. Oh, excellent. It does look like we have the Magenta Magma Cubes being able to kill their Void Disciple by using ranged methods. They now have the totem. I watched them pick it up. Let's see if they can make it all the way back up through that gauntlet. It does look like the Magenta Magma Cubes, making it there early, they were able to clear out all of the spawners. So in theory, they just need to climb up through these bushes, up these ladders, through the final corridor, place the test of strength in this barrel, and they should place 4th place. Let's see if that happens. And it does. We do see the Magenta Magma Cubes do place 4th. Congratulations. We now have half of our teams having completed the race, and about half of our time is gone. And so it looks like the other team should be following suit shortly.
Yes, and it seems the light blue creepers seem to be making good progress, at least. It should be quite a tight race between the light blue creepers and the crimson illusionists.
Oh, and there is... Oh! just in time. I teleported just in time to watch Leche Sim get sniped by Smab across the map. Light blue creepers have spawned their Void Disciple. We see Smab working their way back across. Let's see if we can find where the Bob the Snob is.
Oh, and Platypi is approaching the Evoker. Trying to use ranged attacks to take him out.
It does look like that is a good strategy, especially if you can stay outside of the aggro range of the Void Disciple. That might help stop those pesky Vexes from flying through walls and attacking you.
And he seems to be using a Trident as well. Pocket Pirate seems to be using a Trident.
Oh, that's the first Trident I've actually seen in this game, so they may be one of the few teams that was actually able to find them. And it is a very convenient weapon. I do believe it will return to the player. It has the enchantment that returns. Now they look like they are punching this Void Disciple. It is lower than half health. Can they take it out before the Vexes take them out? It looks like Pocket Pyro is panicking. Oh, and Pocket Pyro does get taken out. Now, luckily, this Void Disciple does not recover health. So eventually, over time, if they keep at it, they will be able to kill it. The issue is it will...
And we have Platypi coming in to finish him off, hopefully.
Oh, perfect. Does look like that's the case. They have an iron armor. They have an iron sword. Now, the one thing is, the longer they take, potentially the more Vexes will spawn around that Void Disciple. So they can't take too long.
And Bob and Snap seem to just be having a rough time with being killed the second they start trying to get back to where they need to be.
It is very tough to be a team of two right now. I do not envy their position at all. It does look like you're correct, Scrog. Your prediction of Raven Platypi rushing forward to try and take out the Void Disciple is there. They are getting several hits on him. Can they do enough damage to kill it? All they need to do is get the...
And he's down! Oh, and the totem's here!
And the totem is still on the ground! What a devastating attempt. That is heartbreaking. But the good news is it's dead now, so they just need to make it back here. They need to pick that up, take it up to the top, and they'll be done. That is the last part.
And hope it doesn't despawn.
And hope it doesn't despawn, you're right. For those of you that are unfamiliar, Minecraft does have items despawn eventually.
Right here. Seems to be a good bit of tag teaming going on there.
I wonder if they can see where it is, though, because they did not make the kill.
Oh, no!
They are not actually sure where the totem will be. Oh, and it does look like they spotted it.
Oh, they find it.
Excellent. So now they just need to make their way. Now, interestingly, they're choosing to go back down that route instead of proceeding up into that final gauntlet. I wonder if they are attempting to reconvene, or if they're not even sure where they're supposed to go right now. That may be the case too.
Or perhaps just want some backup for traveling up the final section.
Let's go ahead and check in on our salmon sheets just to see how things are going.
Oh, and Leche was picked off by Smab, leaving Pocket Pyro alone.
Now, I don't remember. Is Pocket Pyro the one that has the totem?
Pocket Pyro has the totem and is now rushing up to the tower.
They are speeding up, back up, fast as they can. I bet their teammates just informed them that they needed to take that totem to a certain location. See if they're able to make it up.
And might actually give some relief to Bob and Smab, who can then focus on finishing the course without the risk of PvP.
Exactly.
Oh, the Pocket Pyro seems to be heading back to the Void Room. Perhaps a bit of confusion in where they should be going.
No, they actually have to go into that chamber and up to get by, because we have placed bedrock, stopping them from just going straight up that tower.
I thought they'd made it into the final room before.
I'm not actually sure if they've made it up here. We can
Perhaps
take a
I
look.
got confused with a different team.
No, you're totally correct, because it does appear that all the spawners up here have been broken. But what might be the case is that Pocket Pyro might not have been up there before, and another teammate has instead. And here they go. They are entering that final gauntlet, but it's less of a gauntlet now and more just a climb, because I believe some of their teammates have already been up here, and they have already successfully cleared out all the spawners. It should be a breezy path all the way up. They are now entering the final chamber. And let's see. Will they be Team 5 to complete it? And the light blue creepers will be Team 5 to complete. Congratulations.
No, we just have 3 teams left, and it's really a race between the Salmon Sheep and the Crimson Illusioners. And the the Green Nitwit seem to just be fishing.
Incredible. Living up to that name as always. Does look like Bob the Snob here from the Salmon Sheep is back in the Iron Cave.
Oh, Snob goes for a tactical death after collecting some diamonds.
Interesting. You know, that's a technique we didn't really talk about, but with keep inventory on, that might be a viable tactic to get quickly back. Obviously, that won't work with the wool, but for other resources, it might be a viable strategy. We have the Crimson Illusioners here, who are pushing towards that final tower climb. However, it's unclear. Oh, and they're getting absolutely annihilated by creepers and witches there. It is another example of why it's really useful to have all of your team ready to make that final push.
And Bob and Smab seem to be reunited at last.
At long last, they have been separated for a while.
And now making use of water elevators to get to where they need to go. Perhaps try and speed back into the boss room.
We have the Crimson Illusionist. We have Ice, who is back in the lava cave. Unclear what it is exactly that they're working towards now. Let's try to see if we can find the rest of their teammates.
They have all of them close by. They seem to be getting more wool.
I wonder if they lost their totem or weren't able to find it after defeating the Void Disciple.
And the Green Network seem to be garnering a fair bit of support and attention from the other team for their unconventional ways of playing today.
They do look like they're a pretty happy team, regardless of whether they are going to place last today. They look like they had a good time, and that's really all that matters.
Yes, I mean, at the end of the day, not everyone can win. And Bob seems to have gotten the wool and seems to be heading back towards the mini boss room.
Yes, it does appear the flowing water did come in clutch here, and it is helping Bob to quickly get right back up. And they are now running across the surface, hopefully to place that block down. And then they should be able to proceed to fight the Void Disciple.
Oh, but Stone Noob seems to be climbing up the last tower.
let's take a look and see. They're kind of just waiting at the bottom. It looks like they were able to successfully clear out all of those devastating spawners down there. If you don't remember, down here there were witches spawners, creeper spawners. This is the final gauntlet, and so in the design of this, the game makers did want to make sure it was difficult to pass through here. And we have seen many deaths in this area from many teams, but it does look like they were successfully able to clear it. And so let's see if they have the totem ready to place in as their test of strength and push through this final door.
Bob seems to be back at the beacon with the wool. But doesn't seem entirely sure what to do.
It does look like our Crimson Illusionists are facing some confusion. They made it all the way up into that final chamber, but none of them appear to have the totem. Or they do, and they did not place it. It appears that Mikey maybe has figured something out. That looked like an intentional death to me. Oh, and the Salmon Sheep have spawned their Void Disciple, finally, and so hopefully they will be able to figure out that that is their next step in order to proceed.
And Smab, instead of fighting, seems to have just jumped off the edge.
I wonder if Smab jumped off the edge in order to rejoin Bob quickly so that they can push forward for this attempt at the boss. They do have full iron armor.
Seems to have spawned underground in a little tunnel, which could be a good method for trying to kill him.
It does look like that is correct. Yeah, he does look like he is penned in into a block that one of them conveniently broke earlier. Oh, and it looks like Bob did launch themselves off of the edge. It did look intentional.
It seems like the Green Nitwits have built some kind of tribute to Loquacious Fox, who is a fearless leader, according to this statue.
We do have Bob coming back, and now I wonder if that was a tactical death to reset their hearts and their hunger without using what little remaining food they have. That is my theory, but I can't know for sure. But it does look like they're now pushing forward towards the end. And so they need to just make it back down this cave, but they have already created a water source that they can use to get down quickly and safely. Let's go check in on the Crimson Illusionists. Now, if you remember, the Crimson Illusionists were the team that attempted to destroy the boss with lots of TNT, which is why their boss chamber no longer exists. They did come in here and place about 10 pieces of TNT and quickly blow it up. And it sadly did not even kill the boss and destroyed the area. So they may have a difficult time. However, they do look like they are pushing their way back up. And so I wonder if one of them does actually have the totem. And they do. And they are able to push through, and they do become the 6th team to complete today's challenge. Congratulations, Crimson Illusioners. It was nice to see, too, that all 3 of their teammates were ready and exiting at the same time.
Oh, and Bob seems to be TNT spamming the Illusioner.
An interesting strategy. Let's see if it pays off. Oh, yeah, they do have him pinned in. Again, though, and they may not know that. Oh, I was about to say that this Illusioner has a lot of health, but looking at it now, it only has 15 hearts left, and this TNT will definitely kill it. Now, I'm not familiar with game mechanics, Frog. Maybe you know the answer to this. Are Totems of Undying immune to TNT?
They are not immune to TNT. However, I believe it would drop from the explosion, so it shouldn't be blown up because it will drop because of the TNT.
And we see all the other competitors in spectator mode now, watching this scene and out. So it does seem like Bob left.
Retreated off. Oh! What a risky jump off the side to land into the water. Truly a spectacular gamer move. And he's met up with Smab so they can move through to that chamber together and hopefully claim the 7th place. As someone is saying in chat, once it drops, entities do get destroyed.
Interesting. So, without, they perhaps do not know how low health the the Evoker is right now. And so, all they have to do is hit him twice and he will die. But if they don't know that, they may attempt the TNT method anyway. And if they do, that could cause some issues if it does blow up that item.
Snap seems to be charging in head first.
Oh,
and Bob hits the TNT and walks out.
And he is dead. And
it got destroyed. Yeah, so the first TNT dropped it, and then the next one blew it up.
It certainly did. And we saw it live on stream that when he died, he dropped the totem and the other TNT destroyed it. This look here of hanging head in shame.
I can hear Bob saying, "Ha," in my head.
Huh?
We go, huh? Bruh.
Put wool back and kill it again. It sadly is the only strategy that can allow them to proceed. That they will need to respawn the boss.
They have 35 minutes and not much competition for that 7th spot. And the Nitwit seem to be trying to get to the Nether.
Interestingly, that was not something we tested, so let's see if they're actually able to pull that off.
I think we've disabled it. Oh.
And they were able to successfully enter the Nether. Congratulations.
Oh no, it just takes you back out, I think. Yeah, so the Nether seems to just be open, so this could have been a way to sequence break, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely not a method that we had ever accounted for.
Could this be the great comeback that the Green Nitwits needed? Gosh. And I apparently died somehow. I'm in spectator mode, but...
Let's ask them. Let's ask if they'd like to call it.
Whilst Green Team seem to be lacking in performance today, they've certainly gained their fans and supporters.
Yeah, they absolutely have gained some fans. They did provide
That's going wild.
Mab has again collected the pink block and attempts to respawn the Void Disciple. Looks like they've partially destroyed their monument too, trying to attempt to figure out how they were supposed to place it.
And the fortunate side is, although they'll be placing a tough matchup, next week they will hopefully have a 3rd team member, which should help balance out
Exactly.
They've had a strong performance for two of them. It's just hard to compete against. Well, Bob and Smab seems to be making their way back to the monument. And I'm not fully sure what Splod and Prince Tabby are attempting right now, but they seem to be exploring the Nether.
I can assure everybody watching at home that there is absolutely nothing in the Nether for them to receive to help them. It's just a vanilla Nether world, I imagine. We did not account for that, but
Yeah, I guess you could find some gold, which isn't really helpful.
oh, they successfully were able to leap down into this chasm with the water that they placed like 20 minutes ago, so that has been extremely beneficial to them. They're going to be making their way. Actually, they're going the wrong way. Or at least Bob the Snob is going the wrong way. Because as a reminder, they need to go up through this mine shaft here to reach the Void Disciple up there. Looks like Smab has let Bob know that they are in fact going the wrong way, and they are turning around. Oh, and we do see Bob trying to rush up, has managed to fall all the way down. You have Smab ahead, but I believe if Smab was playing this smart, they'd want to wait for Bob, who just fell again. They'd want to wait for Bob to catch up with them so that they have a better shot of taking on this Illusioner. Again, it has, sorry, not Illusioner, Evoker, I believe. Again, to remind you, it does have 200 health, and it spawns Vexes that can travel through blocks. And so you have to kill it fast, and the longer you wait, the more those Vexes will spawn, and there is no hiding from those. They will pass through blocks. Oh, and it looks like Smab decided to push in alone and did unfortunately take a lot of damage from those Vexes and did die. However, it now has 104 health, which is about half of what it has. And so if Bob can get in there and do enough damage before those Vexes get them, they should be able to get that Totem of Undying and be able to complete this match, bringing this stream to a close. Unfortunately, they do not. That Void Disciple still has 55 health. Now, Scrog, if I was them, I would have waited for both of us to be ready in order to do a kind of dual attack there. Maybe one of us fighting the Disciple while the other focuses on the Vexes. They chose not to do that, and I believe they're paying for that decision right now.
Yeah, I think there's Oh, Bob's left the game. I think there's some frustration on the team at this point.
I believe so. I believe there is. And we will have to kind of see if Smab would like to continue and finish. If Smab does drop out, then by some miracle, the Nitwits will not place last in this first match. Smab is pushing ahead alone. I want to see if Smab is able to do this. Let's see.
he seems to be pushing forward ahead with it.
Map is. However, it does look like they're going the wrong way a little now. You need to turn around. Oh, they're saying that they are done jumping into the void. I believe that the Salmon Sheep have chosen to forfeit this round. And so what that does mean is that we have the Green Nitwits who are going to take 7th place in this, somehow miraculously taking 7th place. And then Smab's team and Bob's team, which are the Salmon Sheep, may be taking last place.
It's been quite the unpredictable late game today.
I am actually getting word from our game masters right now to be corrected. It does appear that the Green Nitwits did choose to forfeit first, and so the Nitwits will actually take last place, and the Salmon Sheep will take 7th place. And that does bring our event, our first tournament, to a close. What an incredible show of skill and determination. Some of our players died so many times and yet kept coming back and back and back. We saw some incredible teamwork from teams here who have never teamed together before. Some of these players barely knew each other before today and still chose to step into this and compete just like any other team, where some of these teams have known each other for years. Now, Sprog, I say we hop in with our victors real quick and ask them how the match went for them, how they were feeling, and what maybe helped them to lead to victory. Let's go chat with them real quick.
Absolutely, we should do some exit interviews.
All stuff. So
Golden Guardians, congratulations. You did place first. How's it feel? Did you have anything in particular you think really helped you guys succeed? Was there anything, a strategy or a technique that you employed that you think kind of led towards your victory? Or do you think you just got a little lucky?
Little bit of both, I think. We split up at the beginning to try to cover as much ground as possible, and I think we just had a lot of luck with having the right people in the right place at the right time.
Amazing.
Yeah, I was exploring at the end. Whoop.
Yeah.
Panda ended up getting there and took care of everything after the Vex or the Invocal.
Interesting. And how did that how did the research and discovery go for you guys? Because it looked like some teams found it pretty difficult to figure out what they needed to do with the wool and the boss. How did you guys go about that? Did you figure it out pretty quick?
I mean, we knew what to do with the wool immediately because I as soon as we dropped in, I was like, oh, that's where we placed the wool.
Yeah, we did the test map, so we knew that about the wool placement.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you guys did actually take the test maps and give it a go?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then then the very end one, that was what confused me because I thought there would be wool in it, but once the Vex spawned, we knew what to do.
The very end with the disciple and getting the totem to the final place was all Locke or Amerstead. He did all of that. The rest of us were just trying to catch up to him at that point.
I see. Great. Well, congratulations. You did place first, which means going into the next rounds, you will be playing against the Green Nitwits, who did place last today. But it looked like they had a great time.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna. I thought we were facing the Lime Llamas since they placed second.
Nope. The way that it works is that that's the incentive for you to finish first, is that you then get to go against the team that placed last to give you a little bit more of an edge, theoretically.
Okay. Well, I'm just excited that I get some bragging rights on the Nitwits because I'm with Near Vanilla, which is half of the Nitwit team.
Excellent. Alrighty. Well, we will check in with you guys before the next tournament. I'm going to go over to the Lime Lions and talk about their second place victory. But again, congratulations on placing first.
All right.
Thanks.
Oh my god.
Limes, hello.
Hello.
Congratulations on placing second there. So how did it feel? How did it go? Was there any challenges in particular that you had a hard time with?
Major challenges.
Hold on, one talk at a time. Go.
We had major challenges at the end when when we were fighting the illusioners.
Mm-hmm.
There was a crazy amount of illusioners, and it was a big challenge for us to kill all of them. For sure.
But even with that, you were still able to place second, and the other teams only had one to fight, so it's pretty impressive.
I know it. I don't even know how.
We did just as a team.
As we were going to fight the last one, I was like, wait, guys, I have a totem in my inventory. And then I didn't know if it was named or anything. I just put it in my offhand. I said, all right, I'm going to tank this last one because I have a totem. I can die for it.
We could have just left there and then.
Yeah.
And then we also we were feeling that we were tilting a little bit. We were starting to get really upset. And then we were like, why? We need to stop going in all alone and we need to group up. So we waited like 5 minutes or something for us to all get there. And then that's kind of just what pushed us into that dub right there.
It was good.
Yep.
It was, oh god. It was, we started off like, I think we started what it felt like we started off so well. Just kind of rocket through it. And then it just kind of slowed down once we got to the, like after we got the wool, it just slowed down. I don't know.
I think the last room was really hard.
I don't think that was unique to your team. From our spectators' angle, we saw that a lot. A lot of teams quickly got the wool, and there were some people in the chat who were saying, oh no, this game's over, but they didn't realize there was still a lot more to go, that was the halfway point.
Yeah, we realized that early on that we had to get there, but it just was a big struggle to like get up there and fight them all. Because the Vexes are just insane. And then the Vexes started like flying through the walls up to the entrance of the cave. So, yeah.
It was a unique problem.
They followed me to spawn.
Yeah,
I like spawned off the bat, tried to walk across the bridge. One of them almost hit me off. But
another big blunder is we were gonna get like a lava bucket, but we used all of our iron to make iron boots.
Yeah.
And then we had only 2 iron ingots left.
Early armor was good. That leather armor was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just were rocking the wool armor.
The wool armor?
The leather armor.
Yeah.
Leather.
All right, well, congratulations. You did place second, which means you go into the next rounds with a little bit of a benefit. You will be playing against the salmon sheep, so...
I don't know about that benefit. Yeah, it seems kind of like the opposite a little bit.
We'll have to see.
And they did only have 2 players this week.
Yeah, they had 2 players, but next week I think they're going to be in full force, so we got to definitely train up.
For sure. Well, congratulations on placing second, and then we will see you either next week or the week after. It really depends, because we are going to have 2 weekends of semifinals. But shortly, we will be posting the brackets based on how everybody placed, and then we'll let you know. But thanks for coming. Thanks for getting second place. It was incredible.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. It's a brilliant event. So good.
Amazing map.
Appreciate it.
Are we checking in with anyone else?
I believe that we're a little over time here, and so I wanted to just take an opportunity to talk about kind of what is to come. So, as you all know, this was just a seeding event, which means that every team that we saw here today will get to compete again in the weeks to come. And what that will look like is a stream like this, except it will be 1 team versus 1 team. Not a crazy 8 teams all at once match like this. And the lanes will be much longer and different. So every single match that's played will have a different map that will challenge our players and our teams in a very different way each time. But the same concept will always be the same. Players will have to discover wool. In this map, it was 1 single piece of wool. But in future maps, it could be 2 wool, 3 wool, 5 wool even as we get towards the grand finale. And so it's just something to keep in mind. We will be posting updates as we proceed through this week. We'll be sharing a bracket with everybody just to let you know who will be fighting who and when, so that you can plan accordingly to turn up and support the teams that you really want to support. And with that, Sprog, I think we're good to close today's event.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations to all the teams, and thanks everyone for taking part. Make sure you send everyone some good vibes, but think we're good to close.
And thank you to everybody who worked hard on this map, this custom map here, and all the coding behind it. We had a lot of support, so we greatly appreciate you. And like Scrog said, all of the people who chose to sign up and compete, thank you so much for attending, and we will see you next week.
Are we still live?